Good afternoon and welcome to this week's issue of Print21, the weekly video news bulletin from Print21. This week's issue is sponsored by Fujifilm Business Innovation. News this week for print and every industry is led by the budget. The government went big on the 2021 budget, with print businesses among those who will benefit from the Treasurer's $75 billion spend his way to recovery strategy. In a major boost for print businesses, Treasurer Josh Frydenberg extended the temporary instant asset write-off and the loss carryback for another 2 years at a cost of $20.7 billion. It also boosted its apprenticeship training support, which pays a business half the wages of an apprenticeship. The loss carryback rule means that a business that made a loss as a result of COVID, and that would include many printers, can carry back those losses against previous years, back to 2018-19, when they're in profit. The caveat is the amount carried back cannot be greater than the earlier tax profit. It runs until the 2022-23 tax year. A new expense, though, was added to businesses, which will now have to pay super for low-income part-time employees who earn more than $200 a month rather than $450. But tax on shares was axed, staff shares was axed. The Treasurer also increased the power of SMEs to pause or modify action taken against them by the Australian Tax Office, including giving the Administrative Appeal Tribunal the ability to defer any payment demanded by the ATO until the matter has been finally and fully resolved. The government is pumping that $2.7 billion into the Boosting the Apprenticeship Commencements programme, pay businesses 50% wage subsidy over 12 months for newly commencing apprenticeships or trainees signed up by 31st of March next year, capped at $7,000 a quarter per apprentice or trainee. However, there's no new funding for TAFEs. Industry reaction to Josh Frydenberg's 2021 budget was mixed, with some disappointment and some encouragement drawn from the pump priming announcements. Peter Harper, CEO of Supplier Association Visual Connections, says that while economic recovery will clearly continue to be impacted by a lack of international travel and migration, there is welcome news in the budget, most notably in the areas of business support, investment incentives and training. He says there's big tax cuts for individuals and a number of significant support for businesses, all designed to increase spending and boost jobs, which will be good for print. However, Walter Kuhn, president of Print and Visual Communication Association, characterised the budget as doing little for print, in not addressing the COVID-impacted retail, hospitality and tourism sectors, which are major print buyers, nor mandating a Print in Australia government policy for Australian government. Charles Watson, General Manager at the Real Media Collective, though, said it was encouraging, building on the previous budget, and said that while there was nothing specific for print, the range of measures would be welcomed by the industry. And the RBA, whose building I'm standing in front of now, has had a major part to play in the way that the print industry and the economy as a whole has moved and surpassed all expectations in the COVID recovery period. In other news, in New Zealand, the top 5 apprentices have been named, with the winners set to be announced at Pride in Print on July 25th. Women in Print breakfasts are currently underway. The first 2 have just taken place in Brisbane and Sydney, Perth and Adelaide next week, and Melbourne the week after. Places going fast, so sign up if you can. People on the move this week include Ashley Playford-Brown, who has joined Durst Oceana as National Manager for Large Format and Textiles. He moves from Cornet Digital. And the culture vultures among you are looking forward to watching the Eurovision Song Contest next week. Will be interested to know that the dress worn by the Israeli entrant has been printed on a Cornet DTG direct-to-garment system. Finally, 2 big online events happening next week. The HP Indigo D-Scoop user group is running Monday through Thursday, while Heidelberg has its Push to Stop automation webinar running on Thursday at 5 p.m. Australia Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. in New Zealand. Go to the print21.com.au website, follow the links in the stories to register for both these events and to read all the print industry news in full. That's it for this week. Thanks to our sponsor Fujifilm Business Innovation. This is Wayne Robinson signing off.